Hello everyone, welcome back to Agvis Africa. It's Dixon here from AAA Studio. Today we'll be having a look at how to create animation using D5 Render. I created this animation telling stories, Stone Town Street in Zanzibar, and we will attempt to recreate this animation. We might not be successful in creating exactly the animation. However, the idea is to give you tools and technique of how I created this video. So you see how I created the texture, the camera moves, and basically the idea behind this animation. Let's have a look. This tutorial will be a 5-part series. We will try and use each session to basically understand what was done in terms of the detail, in terms of the materiality, in terms of the camera as well. Let's dive right into it. Okay, so this is our model in Revit. This is the view that we'll be exporting to D5. Let's have a look at the model in Revit. You can see it's quite a basic model with walls and windows and this roof. This was just kind of a reimagining of a space that I've been or I've kind of experienced in Zanzibar, small kind of alleys, streets in Zanzibar. And I thought it would be nice to reimagine this space with architectural visualization. This is by no means the exactly how the space look like. It's just a reimagined of the space. So we are going to take this to D5 and have some fun. So let's click on the start button as usual. And we use the start button because it will allow us to synchronize if we need to change something. Okay, so here we are with our model, and here is our view. Okay, so I'm just gonna have a look at this view. Okay, then what I normally do, so you have to check your eye level. Okay, so I normally go between 1.2, 1.4, but you shouldn't go like more than maybe 1.8, you know. So I normally stay within maybe 1.4. So something like this. Then I'm going to update the scene so that I know that it's updated. And then I make sure that my field of view normally is also within 45 to 55 as a field of view. So I'll leave that there as well. Then what I'll do is that I'll go to the sky and then just adjust the time of day a little bit, just to get the shadows in. But also this is something that we can change, you know, once we bring in some of the objects, because then it will also kind of advise us how we want our shadows to cast. Because remember, we are reimagining this, we are crafting this ourselves. And so one of the things you can also do is to kind of switch on the clay model so that you can understand how the light is working around. Okay, then I'll switch off the auto exposure because I don't need that, because the auto exposure kind of brightens the space too much. I want the auto exposure to be off. So let's switch that off. Let's switch off the clay model, and let's go back to our list and update that. Okay, so then I've updated that. So let's say we are happy with this kind of lighting for now, but again we will work on it as we go. Okay, so the next thing that we will have a look at is materials. And as I said earlier on, this is going to be a 5-part series. So this part 1, we will have a look at how to bring in the object. I think that's important to set up the scene before we add materials. So let's add in some objects first. Okay, in our part 1, if we still have enough time, we will add materials to our facade and everything. But for now, let's just add in some objects. So let's go to import, okay, and click on the plus sign. And here are some objects that I've been using. But let's go to the folder where I have some objects there. Okay, so that's a shortcut. So let's go. Okay, let's go to tutorial 1 and let's go to models. Okay, so here we've got some models here. Okay, quite nice models. So in our scene from the video, you can see that we have this this car. Okay, and then we also have this bicycle there, and then we have this motorbike as well. So we're going to go back to our D5. Then let's bring in this bicycle, which is basically downloaded from SketchUp warehouse. So you can just bring it in. So let's say we have our bicycle here. So let's just position it there. Okay, we will change it later if the position is not it's not good for us. We can change it later. So now let's just place it in. Let's go back and let's look for some tables. I think this is, let's see, something that is a bit detailed. Okay, so yeah, I think this one is nice. So let's bring that table in. Okay, there. Okay, let's change to a bed view. I like navigating with that because I'm used to other softwares using that. Okay, so let's position that there, and we can duplicate it a couple of times. So let's duplicate that, maybe also there. Okay, so we've got that there. Okay, then there's this door, amazing doors that I actually saw at Zanzibar, that I thought it would be nice to have it in the model, but I didn't have the time to model this, so I just went to 3D warehouse again, and then I found this beautiful door which I thought like really works well for what I was looking for. So what we're going to do is to take this door, rotate it 90 degrees, and then just position it in where our door is supposed to be if we had modeled this door. Okay, so just gonna position it there, and it fit quite nicely. So let's see, there it is. We're going to scale it, the height a little bit, so I think about 2.4 should work. Okay, great. See, it's working quite nice. Okay, there you go. So I'm going to just bring it a little bit forward. There you go. So now that I have that height, I can basically have the height. I can just duplicate that. So edit, duplicate, or Control D, I think, on the keyboard. And then you can just position that there. Edit, yeah, Control D. Okay. So now I've got the door there. I mean, it's quite nice. The detail of that door. Okay, so we can have that in there. Okay, and then we need to find. Let's see what other item was there. We need to find a motorbike and the car. Okay, so let's go to the import button and let's look for a motorbike. I don't think I have that motorbike that I use here, but it really doesn't matter. Let's use a different one on from Google warehouse. So we can basically bring in that motorbike in. Oh, the scale of that. Normally I try to use objects that are scaled properly. So I'm going to delete this. I'll look for another one. Because yes, you can scale it, but I would like to have something that is already at a good scale. Okay, let's see this. Okay, it's busy loading. Okay, loaded. And then this one looks smaller, but let's increase it a little bit. I think it should be fine. If I find the model that I use in our next tutorials, we might replace this motorbike, which is fine for now. Okay, so we're just going to position it somewhere like that. just to create like a, you know, a way, you know, like a pathway, so it's not like blocking the road or something like that. Okay, then we need our car, so let's bring in the car in. So we're gonna bring this old BMW. Again, the models are different from what was in the video, because from the video, the model and the assets were done in 3ds Max. And here I'm trying to show you the workflow from using Revit. Okay, so we're going to position that there. Okay. Great stuff. Okay, so we've got our objects in. Let's see if I can move this chair, this furniture a little bit out of the way so I can move the car a bit forward. Okay, great. I think it's coming along. Okay, so the next thing that we will have a look at is just basically adding some materials. So let's add some materials. Okay, so let's go to assets. Okay, and we are going to create some PBR materials. Physical based materials. Okay, so what I normally do is that I always start with like a base. Okay, so I'm going to just apply this material, for example, to it. Okay, and the reason why I do that, I know a lot of people probably do it differently, but the reason why I do this is because I know that this material has it has displacement, it has ambient inclusion, it has height and everything. So then all I have to do is to change the textures here, and then it applies for me. So if I go to base color now, I can just change what the base color is, and then I'll go to my folder where I have my PBR materials. Then I go to paving. So if I look for paving stone, I think it's number 3, for example, and then I pick the color. So you see here we are looking for the color. So if I pick the color, you see now it will change that. Okay, so you see it's changed, but it's picking the normal texture map. Okay, so you have to change that. So if you go there and then you go to normal, then you pick that normal texture map, you see that immediately that is finished loading, it will change to the correct map. Okay, so we will have to change roughness as well. So we go to roughness, and then we have to change the roughness. Okay, then we have to go to height. Actually, height is what is creating this, because that's basically displacement. So we're going to change the displacement. There you go. Very, very, very nice. Very realistic. Look at that. And I'll show you something. So you see here with these kind of grass that is popping out in the stones. I normally what I do is that, especially if I have a close shot, I also add like a few grass in here from my D5 assets. Okay, So now I think this is looking good. We really didn't do much in terms of this materials. It's just changing the texture, and we have this beautiful realistic kind of paving. Okay, so you can also adjust your height, which is the displacement. If it's too much, you see that is becoming too much, so you can reduce it a bit depending on what works for you. Okay, and you can actually add ambient inclusion, because this does have, so the ambient inclusion will begins to kind of highlight the dark edges, let it pop out. Okay, so you can pay attention to that as well. Okay, so now we've got our paving stones. Let's see with the wall. So I am going to go to assets again, and this time around I'm going to go to paint, and I'll just pick any wall, so maybe an ordinary wall. It's a texture that I normally use, but it really doesn't matter. We can choose any of these textures. Okay, so once we've chosen any of those textures, we can basically go to the base color map and go to the image and go to our PBR, and then again here now we're looking for plaster 2, I think. Yeah, so we're going to pick that. Okay, there you go. And then we can change the normal. So we change the normal again. Then we can change your roughness. Change the roughness again. And if you go to the UV map and we switch on the triple planar, we could work with the scale of the map. So you can see we're beginning to get something like this that we got in the video. Okay, so depending on the look that you're trying to get. Okay, so let's see the video. What did we have? Yeah, so we have that basically that texture also applying there. So what can we do? We can just use the material picker tool. We pick that, we copy that, and we apply it on that wall as well. So there you go. We apply it there as well as, so then we have it there. Okay. Then we can go to texture again, and then this time around we pick any material. Then we go to the properties by using the material picker by clicking on it, and then you have properties, and once you have the properties, you can basically go to maps, and once you're in map you can change the color map. So I think that was bricks. Yeah, that is bricks. So let's go to PBR, and then let's go to choose a brick. So we pick that brick, give some time, choose the normal, roughness. So the roughness basically is about the reflectiveness of the material. So when it's like 0, normally it gives off some reflection if you have like lights and other things on it. So you need to be careful when you're playing with the roughness, and also like with the metal. So you see, if I change this to metal, it means that now the material now is a metallic material. Okay, so also be careful of that. You can see immediately I change it to metal and I put the roughness to 0. You can see that it's giving me this shininess there. So we don't want that. We want to take out the metal and rather increase the roughness. Okay. And these materials are easy to find. You can easily find them if you go to Google and then you just type PBR Materials. Okay. There's a website called Ambient CG, free public domain. So if you click there, you have really some nice materials that are free. So if you go click on category and you just say, you just click, so these are tiles, paving stones, bricks. So if I click on paving stones, there you go. So this is the one we are using. If I click on it, you see, it allows me, it gives me options. Normally, I use anywhere between 4K and 8K. I don't go above that or below that, okay? So you just click 4K to download, and it's free. You download, you get a zip file, and the zip file has your different textures inside, okay? Which is quite good. Okay, so this is basically let's add some materials. Let's pick some glass. So let's add some glass here into our window. Let's go to wood and let's add some wood material to our window frames. Okay. There. Okay. Then the idea is to use this as almost like a flower pot over the doors and the window and below the windows. So I am going to apply concrete to it. So I'm going to just apply some concrete texture to it. Okay, like that. Okay, again, let's go to our view. Let's see if there's a better. I want to give it almost like a rough, feel to it. So I want to change that to a rough concrete. So I'll change that. Okay. Then I'll switch on. There you go. You can see that. So we can work with the scale a little bit. There. Something like that. Should be fine. Okay. Okay, let's also apply the concrete to these grooves here. Yeah, so we apply it there. Okay, so we will end part 1 here today, and in our next tutorials in part 2, we will look at how to enhance or kind of add materials to these objects: the bicycle, the motorbike, and the car. And then, yeah, we will add some vegetation. Thank you very much for joining me once again. And please do not forget to subscribe, to like and share the video. If you have any comments, any questions, you can leave it in the comment section and I will definitely respond to it. Thank you very much and see you again. Bye.